not going to be the Alabama coach.
It'd be Dan Marino, Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor in that exact order.
I want an opportunity to play, and the Jets are giving me an opportunity to play.
I put Lindo Mari up there before Ryan Tannehill.
Ricky Williams. Just before Dolphins training camp this past July, he turned his back on all of it and ruined the Dolphins' entire season.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Dolphin fans of all ages, the Battered Fins Fan Show is back with another episode. I am your host, the Bearded Fanatic. There you go. Put me in the right window. That is my co-host, the Battered Jets fan himself, Danny G. Danny, how are we doing on this lovely Monday afternoon?
You know what? Actually, I'm not doing that great. I will tell you.
Don't have a quarterback yet?
No, nothing. Actually, no, nothing football related. This weekend, I found my first official gray hair.
Ooh, well.
Right there on the temple.
As you guys can tell, your boy's flocking them.
Well, it took me 38 years.
Okay.
But I got my first one. It hurts. I'm not going to lie. And then I spotted another one on the other side. So they're coming in fast.
You know,
not doing too great.
That's what happens when you live the dream. You start getting grays, man. You know, they start popping up left and right. As you can tell, I have a full flock. And when I grow my hair out, you can see even more on top of the head. So I'm right there with you, man. But you know what I've done? Because you're not there yet. I've learned to accept them.
No, I'm not there yet.
Yeah, exactly. I've learned to accept them. They are what they are. But ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're talking more NFL draft today. Danny, we had a pretty Successful episode last week in talking about who we would draft at the number 2 pick. We did a hat giveaway. Huge shout out again to them. We have another one that just passed this past Friday. I haven't posted the winner, but the winner will be talked about at the end of this show. So tune in for that. And then I will DM you shortly after the highlight reel for this video drops and get your shipping information so I can get this hat out to you. But as you see, this is the teal version of the NFL draft hat this year. Danny, how are you feeling about the NFL drafts this year? Your team, my team, and then in general, I think that this is possibly the best year they've had in quite some time, but still not the best hat overall.
They're not bad, but I've never really been a big fan of the NFL draft hats for some reason.
Yeah.
I like the regular, just give me the logo in a nice two-tone. I don't know. I'm not. They try to get a little too creative with them, and I mean they don't look bad.
I'm feeling this too. Feeling this too.
But I like just the straight logos usually. I'm good with that.
All right, man. Well, let's get into it. Like I said, we have a couple more we had a couple more third round picks to get to. I mistakenly said that last week, and I completely forgot that we already drafted somebody in the third round. His name is Jalen Ramsey. That is who we traded one of our picks for, along with Hunter Long, a tight end that got shipped out. Probably another reason why Danny went tight end last week. But we got more picks this week. And Danny, I think we both, and you said before the show that you were surprised I went this route, but there's a reason why I went this route. Is because I think the Miami Dolphins fan base has been begging and pleading with Chris Grier and the Miami Dolphins organization to finally at least draft one of these players. And I think just by setting that up, most people who are listening right now are going to know exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about the running back room. And Danny, you have a player. I have a player that we both think should be drafted at that 84th third round pick. I'll let you start it off. Who do you think we should go there?
Well, to be clear, I only think you should go this route if we go based off of what you said last week, where we draft an offensive lineman in the second round.
Yep.
If you take care of that need in the second round, then I think you get a little more creative in the third round, right? You can go with something that maybe you already have, but you want some depth at. Now, the running game for the Dolphins last year, to me, was disappointing because I felt like every time that I saw you guys rushing consistently, you guys were productive, but you just didn't do it productively enough. I started looking into the red zone, more specifically inside the 5-yard line.
Yep.
Inside the 5-yard line, you guys only had 2 rushing touchdowns. One of those being from Raheem Mostert, and the other one, I forgot who it was. Literally 2.
Yep.
You guys were in the red zone consistent. You guys had a good offense. Now, I understand that you guys didn't really have a big wide receiver target to throw in there, but because you still don't, I mean, Gesicki never got to play. Right. So because Gesicki wasn't used, you guys should have been running the ball inside the 5 more often.
For sure.
But I feel like maybe you weren't because you didn't have that running back, that bruiser that can get it in from 2 or 3 yards out.
Right.
So I'm going to give you a name. Rashawn Johnson. Okay. Now, not a lot of people talk about him, but there's a reason as to why people don't talk about him. Who is the best running back in this draft right now, or this year?
You got me at a loss here.
This kid from Texas, Bijan Anderson, is it? Robinson?
Who?
Bijan Robinson from Texas. He is the best running back in the draft right now. Okay. He gets all the attention.
Yep.
Rashawn Johnson is his backup.
Okay. I see where you're going with this.
He doesn't get much play because he has Bijan in front of him. Okay. Now, this kid is a bruiser. He breaks tackles. He breaks 45% of the tackles that are attempted on him. That's highest in the nation.
I like that.
He can get you those short yardage yards. Okay. When I think about him, I think about, for example, USC back in the early 2000s, Reggie Bush, Lindale White.
Yep.
Where you had the 1-2 punch, but Reggie Bush really got all the popularity. Everybody's talking about Reggie Bush. Nobody really talked about Lindale White, even though he ended up being a productive big back in the league. I think that's what Rashawn Johnson can be, and I think that's what you guys are lacking. Because if you guys can only score 2 touchdowns within the 5-yard line, which I'm sure you guys were in there plenty, within the 5-yard line, and you only had 2 rushing touchdowns there, I'm sure this guy could be a goal line presence for you.
I like it. I'm not gonna lie, I like it. But you know what it strikes me of? What the thought that crosses my mind when you bring up these 2 running backs from the same school?
What?
A little story that happened many moons ago when a gentleman by the name of Carnell Williams was running at Auburn with Ronnie Brown backing him up. And the Miami Dolphins ended up taking Ronnie Brown instead of Carnell Williams, which I believe went to Tampa Bay.
Cadillac.
Right, Cadillac Williams. Well, his name was Carnell, you know.
Yeah, I know, but everybody knows him as Cadillac Williams.
Right.
But
So eventually, Ronnie did have the longer career, so maybe he was the better spot. I don't know if you thought about this when you were picking Rashawn, but do you think that could potentially be a situation like a Cadillac Williams and a Ronnie Brown?
Both of those got picked, I want to say, in the top 10.
Yes.
If not top 10, so they were both used often at Auburn. They were high prospects. Rashawn Johnson, you can get him in the 3rd round. Nobody's talking about this kid, but I see the untapped potential. If you break 45% of your attempted tackles, you have one hell of a stiff arm. You have a chance of being very productive in the next level. And again, you guys have a productive running back room already. So I'm saying he's not somebody that I expect to play 3 downs, but he could be that specialty back. He used to be a quarterback in high school. So he has that mentality. He's a smart kid. He also plays special teams. He played like over 400 snaps of special teams during his 4 years in college in Texas. This kid, you can play him in plenty of places, from special teams to 3rd down, goal line. Like, this is the kid that you want to complete that running back room.
I'm going to stick with the Auburn school here, and I went Tank Bigsby. And when I look at Tank Bigsby, I'll tell you the kind of career he's had so far. In his first year, he went 138 attempts for 834 yards and 5 touchdowns. His sophomore year, 1,099 yards, 10 touchdowns. His junior year, 970, 10 touchdowns again. The guy has 4.5 speed, so he's not blazing fast, but he does have some quick to him. Like, once he hits the hole, he's out. And I think that we have the type of offensive line from what you saw last year, that if our O-line could give you some crevices. You saw Raheem Mostert break a few 9-yard, 80-yard runs, kind of like the one against Buffalo. We could get those holes open for our running backs. Jeff Wilson, like you mentioned, he got here later in the year, so he probably didn't have as many red zone attempts as a Raheem Mostert potentially had last year, right? But obviously he didn't get into the end zone from, like you said, within the 5-yard line. I think Tank Bigsby gives you that. And with a name like Tank, you got to like that name. That sounds like a running back name to me. And when I see his highlights and I see the breakaway speed and I see him stiff arming linebackers at the second level, and let me tell you, one-on-one, a lot of corners can't keep up with him either. So I don't know why he's projected to go in the 3rd round. Maybe somebody who knows and follows the school better than we do knows why he could potentially fall that far down. But when I look at Tank Bigsby from as objective as it comes, because I'm really watching YouTube highlights, I'm looking at his career stats, numbers like that. He could also catch out the backfield. Not one of his biggest strengths, but he could do it. Danny, I like Tank Bigsby at the 3rd pick. That's, again, like you said, if we go Steve Avila, like I want in the 2nd round, I think that you finally address the running back room and something that Chris Greer hasn't done in quite some time, and you take a running back in the 3rd round.
But I feel like maybe with Jeff Wilson and Raheem Mostert, you guys already have that breakout speed. And that's why I was looking for somebody that isn't the
A
reason I
thumper.
think that Rashawn Johnson there's a chance that he falls to the third, maybe even fourth round, is
Yeah.
because he doesn't have that breakaway speed. He isn't the fastest guy. Like you said, he's a thumper.
Yep.
Like if you break 45% of the tackles attempted on you, you're that big guy, right? He's not a Derrick Henry, but he's a big, strong guy. He's got one hell of a stiff arm. So I thought that might be why he's a solid pick for you guys.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. But you know what I like even more? Your next pick. Because now you're kind of addressing the kind of needs that I want for this football team. And I think that if you do go this route, I think it could be a successful, even if we went Steve Avila in the second round. And I know that's not what you're going to go with, but even if we went Steve Avila in the second round, and then we went right here with your next pick in the third, I wouldn't be mad at it because, like you said, I feel confident in the current running back room that we have. So I'd be pretty fine with back-to-back positions like the one that you're about to talk about right now.
Well, we said that we were going to go based off of last week. Right?
Correct.
So last week I said we should, or you guys should take Darnell Washington, right?
Yep.
Tight end, but then you would not be addressing that offensive line. We
Correct.
need to address that offensive line.
For sure.
But if we go tight end second round, third round, Joe Tippmann, I think would be a great selection.
Tell me
Now,
about
the
your
thing
boy.
about Joe Tippmann is he is a center right now.
Yes.
He played his first season as a tackle, then he moved to center. He's considered the third best center in the draft right now. But everybody's saying that he's so versatile. Most centers and guards, those almost are interchangeable.
For
a
sure.
center can move into a guard. I think he can move into guard and be that productive guard because you guys have Connor Williams.
Yeah.
And Connor Williams played well for the Cowboys last year. So I don't think that there's going to be a need there.
Right.
But he can move into that guard spot. He can move into that guard spot and be that interior lineman that you guys need because you need a left guard and a right tackle.
He was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school. So obviously the kid has talent and he's got size on him too, if I'm not mistaken. He's 6'6", 313 pounds. That is a beautiful. Let me rephrase what I was about to say. That's a beautiful size for an offensive lineman at 6'6", 313 pounds. Listen, you look at the Cowboys O-line, you don't see anybody less than 6'5" on that O-line. Like
they're big boys.
They got some big boys, and I think getting Tippmann in the third round is definitely a win. But the way I see it, you could move around Tippmann to center, or maybe not because he's a third round. You could probably put him at that right tackle position as well. See how he feels at right tackle. The fact that he's versatile, I'm open to going back to back offensive lineman, and I get it. I'm crazy. I'm the only one thinking that way. But I
wouldn't have two rookies starting in the offensive line
before.
that is protected. It has, but you have a Super Bowl contending team.
Yes.
So you haven't heard too many Super Bowl contending teams that are starting two rookies at offensive line. Like I would be hesitant to do such a thing. Now, if they go that route, F it. That means that it's better than whatever you have, or they think that what you have right now is so poor that F it, let's try with two rookies.
Right.
Now, what I do like about Tippmann is that they made the comparison, right? Because I was looking to see what that, the NFL comparison is or whatnot.
Yeah.
Graham Glasgow. He was drafted as a center by the Broncos. He's now playing guard. And he is one of the best guards in the league. So he made that same transition that they're saying that Tippmann could make. So I think that if you don't address the offensive line in the second round, third round, this would be the route to go.
I like it. And I like it. Listen, anytime you talk offensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins, I'm all on board. I don't think that you could go wrong. I like your running back pick, and I like your offensive lineman pick. So I went a little bit different in the third round. Obviously, if we can't snatch a running back, I like this guy as well. Now, he's not super fancy, ladies and gentlemen. I like him more. One, he's a senior. Two, he's been a great coach's player the whole entire time he's been there. I went tight end in the third round as a potential route because, now granted, Hunter Long, he wasn't going to pan out. We hoped he did, but listen, the guy couldn't even get off the practice team, and that's why he never really played a lot of snaps for the Miami Dolphins in the 2 seasons he was here, I believe. So he's a Los Angeles Ram now. I like Sam Laporta out of Iowa. I'm going Iowa. I'm selecting him in the third round, Danny. When you look at Sam Laporta, he runs a 4.5, so He's pretty mobile for a tight end. He's 6'3", 245 pounds, so he has some weight on him as well. He's not a great blocker, and I get it. For Mike McDaniel's system, you need to be a great blocker. But I think, based off the highlight videos that I saw of him, he was able to hold up some linebackers at times, some corners. Defensive lineman is where the problem lies, and I get it. Most of the time, when you're lined up on that offensive line, you are gonna face defensive linemen at times. But I like Sam Laporta. I like his hands as well. Most of his career, I'll tell you guys right now, just so you don't have to go ahead and look it up. He's got 657 in his senior season. He has 670 in his junior season, and then in his rookie and sophomore season, he had a combined about 400 yards. So he wasn't really used that much in his first 2 seasons, but he was used much more in year 3 and 4. So I like Sam Laporta a lot. I think it fills the need at tight end because right now you're basically relying on Durham Smythe. Like that.
Didn't Durham Smythe just get an extension?
He did. He got extended last week when we dropped that episode. So I think you still need to fill the gap with another tight end. And in the third round, I get it. Is it too early to probably go get this guy? He may go in the 4th. But we don't have a 4th round pick. Our next pick is in the 6th round. I don't think he drops all the way to the 6th round. So in that position, if I'm taking Sam Avila in the 2nd round, I'd probably follow up, give Tua Tagovailoa another weapon, and I'd go Sam Laporta.
But wouldn't Sam Laporta face the same issues that Gesicki faced? Like if he's not a good blocker?
Well, he's more of an all-around player. Gesicki, for sure, receiving pass-catching tight end. Laporta can catch, just not as good as Gesicki. He can block, just not as good as Durham Smythe. He's kind of in that in-between range of what both players are. So if we don't get Darnell Washington like you selected for us in the 2nd round last year, I would address tight end now so there could be a backup to Durham Smythe.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, if he can block better than Gesicki, maybe he gets on the field. Because there's a misconception that tight ends aren't used in Mike McDaniel's offense. But you forget who he had in his offense in the 49ers? George Kittle. He at that time that he was the coordinator for the Niners, he was one of the best tight ends in the league, if not the best. So if you can block and catch, you're gonna get some play on this offense. It's just Gesicki couldn't block, so he couldn't use him. Yep. That's why I think Darnell Washington is one hell of a pick because Darnell Washington, if he has the potential, right, and he can live up to that potential, he'll be one of the best in the league in this offense.
I agree. I was going to go get tricky with my 3rd round pick, but I think I'm going to save that for the 6th round. And I think I'm going to surprise a lot of people with where I'm going in the 6th round. Because once you get to that 5th, 6th, 7th round,
there's no science to that. That's just like whatever is left, whatever is best available.
You're looking at eye tests. You're looking at who jumps off at the board at you. That is a late round pick that's probably not being looked at that much. And I got a couple of names for that 6th round pick. Obviously, if we stay put, because you never know, Danny, during the draft, trades happen. We potentially could bring in more draft picks. We'd probably get rid of somebody else for some more draft capital. Package our 6th and 7th rounder and move into the 5th. You never know. So we're going to go based off where we are currently. It's ever changing. So by next week, if we have more picks, we have more picks. But as of right now, those are our picks for the 3rd round. Danny, how do you feel about the guys we dropped today?
Look, if you guys get a running back that can help really like solidify that running back core, I think that's great because offensively, outside of offensive line, obviously, but skill positions, you guys are pretty much set. Again, neither one of us touched defense because we feel like you're set at defense.
Yep.
If there is a defender, Deion Henley, linebacker, out of I forgot what school, but a lot of people were projecting him to go to the Dolphins.
Yep.
I don't see you guys taking any picks on defense, at least not in the early rounds.
No, I agree with you. I wouldn't waste any picks on defense in this year's draft unless we pick up some more picks. But if we stay with the current roster of 2nd, 3rd, 6th, 7th, I don't see myself addressing defense at all. I wouldn't go for a backup corner now. I'm fine with what we have. I'm fine with Kader Kohu.
6th and 7th, I think you just take best available, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You just take best and hope that you strike gold because in 6 and 7, it's a crapshoot.
For sure. But Danny, like we said last week on the end of the show, we have another hat giveaway to do. Another NFL draft hat. I went through the roster of everybody who submitted their submissions. And again, random selection of the wheel. I got somebody else, and we're about to announce that winner now. And the winner is the notorious JP. Sir, you have won another Miami Dolphins hat giveaway from the Battered Fins Fans podcast. I will shoot you a DM once you've watched this podcast that we went ahead and selected you. get your shipping information, and get this hat out to you. So congratulations.
Oh, well, yeah. Congratulations. Oh, whoops.
Wow.
My fault.
There we go.
My
There we go.
fault, my fault.
There we go. But yeah, man.
Congratulations to you, sir.
Listen, thank you for the support. Thank you for for wanting to win a hat and dropping your 2 cents for the giveaway. Says you don't have to, but you did, and because you did, you've been selected as a winner. But I'll go ahead and get the shipping information from you, and we'll get that hat out to you. Anything else?
Right.
Anything else, Battered Jet, before we get out of here?
No, I hope that by the time we record next week, I still only have 2 grays, and other than that, I'm good.
I personally see in your future. You ready for this? Before we sign out, if you guys do not get Aaron Rodgers, I see at least 5 more gray hairs growing in the next few weeks.
You think that's what they do? You think it's one for every week
Yes.
that's passed?
Yes, I think that's exactly what it is.
It's possible, definitely possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another episode of the Battered Fins Fans podcast. I am the Bearded Fanatic. That is the Battered Jets fan, and we will catch you boys and girls next week. Peace.